So I've decided to do my video on the first chapter, which tells us about the predecessors to ethics and what they said in their teachings. So I'm going to describe those. The first one I'm going to talk about is Socrates and how his teaching was about following one's principles, being independent in your thought. Each person is responsible for their own moral actions and unethical behavior, and unethical behavior stems from lack of knowledge and ignorance. Plato taught that the virtues of moderation, courage, and wisdom combine to create what he says is the highest virtue, which is justice. And justice, I guess, kind of meant something different back then. It kind of just meant the good life. And to have a good life is to have a moral life. He didn't have much faith in humankind to act morally. He believed that if people were put into a situation where they could act unethically and get away with it, and I suppose it would benefit them, they would always choose to, or most of the time would choose to act immorally. And he also says, if you become a member of the media, you need to educate society. You must first educate yourself, though, and have the courage to speak the truth. Aristotle says that ethical decision-making is a skill, and ethical behavior is not an exact science. So what I may find ethical is maybe different from what someone else would find ethical, and it's not like either of us is wrong. We all have our own ethical behavior, I suppose. That's what I gathered from it. He also says that you learn moral virtue by action and practicing virtuous behavior. And then Kant says that following society's laws is necessary to maintain order, and that all men are equal. No one should be treated as a means to an end, and reason should always come before desire. So I think that this chapter really spoke to me, especially when it comes to Plato's teachings of if you become a member of the media, you need to educate society, because I think in times like this, we all are kind of members of society, in the fact that if we see something happening out in public, we can record it and post it and tell the story. It's kind of like we're reporting the news to the public, and it's important to make sure that, like when he says you have to first educate yourself and have the courage to speak the truth, it's really important that you're not putting out false information, because there's a lot of false information that circulates, and it is not good for society to be reading that, though people do need to take the time to educate themselves on what they are reading and actually pay attention to the sources and if things are true, and not just go by headlines. Actually take the time to read the story. But it's important that when we're doing that we're putting out truthful information. And yeah.